I have a problem with everyone going on podcasts and talking shit about everyone. It sucks, dude. It just sucks. Like when I see some comic go out and talk about some other show that a comic's on, or somebody's bashing another comic that they came up with, or they're talking about how they don't Kill Tony.
But Chris, name no good comics are doing that. I haven't seen one like legit comic talk shit on another one like
there are no
in public.
All right, so we have Brendan Schaub, Eric Griffin, and Chris D'Elia trashing comedians for trashing comedians. And the lack of self-awareness here is amazing. Like Brendan says there's no good comics that talk shit about other comics. Well, Chris is talking shit about comics. And Chris, he also says he doesn't like when comics talk shit about Kill Tony. But the whole premise of that podcast is comedians roasting struggling comedians. So apparently making fun of Tony, one of the most successful comedians right now, is out of line. But Tony making a career out of trashing no-name comics who are barely scraping by is fine. And people like Rogan regard him as one of the best roasters alive. And it's funny, they act like it's better to be punching down for some reason, because I guess if you're trashing somebody doing better than you, that means you're just jealous. Like Chris complains about comedians who make a living talking shit. He's like, that's all they do, and they have to keep it up because that's the only thing they're good at, which is so ironic because it sounds like he's describing Tony. But then right after that, as an example, he brings up how he heard some no-name comics making fun of Kill Tony on a podcast. So Tony can make a living and become one of the biggest comics by humiliating open micers. That's fair game. But then when open micers make fun of him, that's too far. Also, Chris brings up how Bill Burr is above criticizing comedians, but he's been calling out comedians a lot recently. And it's funny, the one time he was on Kill Tony years ago, he hated it because of what I just described here. He felt like Tony was punching down too much, and he just thought it was cringy and like lowbrow humor. So he kept calling him out on it. So if Chris really hates comedians talking shit about other comedians and talking down to them, you would think you'd hate Kill Tony.
Well, right. There's no, I mean, look.
Nobody that you respect.
No, you can argue that, yeah, look, obviously, you know, there are comics that are above it, like Bill Burr, Chris Rock, you know, the big guys, but they're above that. But there are people who are that are not above that, who made their living that way, you know, who made their living talking shit, who made their living getting clicks. They're not. They're the people that what are they going to do? They can't not do that anymore. You know, but I mean, you got. I saw a clip the other day with these comics that were, you know, they were not well known, but they were talking shit about Kill Tony, and it's like
hilarious.
Just, you know, why? Like for what? For what?
Because he's the big dog.
I know, but it's like
when you get to a certain level, like people are gonna take shots. It's like it's a weird comparison, but it's like I'll talk shit about the UFC. I love the UFC, but I talk shit about them because they're so massive.
Yeah, I understand.
Like they're so big. Like
I understand.
It's just what you do.
It's different when it's a company, when they're talking about actual people, like comedians. It's like that shit affects people.
Yeah, so once again, these comedians prove they're the most sensitive people alive, and Chris just sounds so confused here. Like, Chris thinks talking shit about struggling comics is fine, but if you say something bad about successful comics, then it's too far. And Tony, he was a struggling comic talking shit about other comics at one point. I mean, he's like the prime example of what Chris is talking about here. And obviously comedians have no problem making fun of other celebrities. You know, like this person says, this podcast, they spend a ton of time talking shit about people. But then, of course, when it's directed at them, then it's too far. And also the best part about Chris defending Kill Tony is the fact that, like this comment points out, they made fun of Chris and Brendan on Kill Tony multiple times. So it's just pathetic what's going on here. I mean, Chris must be desperately trying to get on the show or something, because to go out of your way and defend them and be like, why are so many comedians trashing that show? I hate comedians talking shit about each other, when they have no problem talking shit about him, is just cuck behavior. So I don't know what's going on here, but apparently Eric thinks all these comedians trashing each other is bad for the brotherhood.
We're not even talking about his special. All we're talking about is like what he does, what he says.
He's just salty.
And I think that
He's just
sucks.
salty.
I don't think it's good for the brotherhood. I don't like that shit.
Yeah, it makes
Brotherhood. What brotherhood do you speak
There's
of?
no
The one
brotherhood,
that kicked my friends out of the brotherhood? The one that kicked my friend Chris and Brian out? What fucking brotherhood?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, weird. There isn't any, but you know, whatever. I mean,
and I would like to hear who Brendan thinks is the gatekeeper of that brotherhood, because obviously wouldn't it be Rogan? And Brendan actually has been taking some subtle shots at him recently. I think he's kind of getting resentful towards him. I've been covering that over on Patreon. Like, also hear Brendan talks about how there's no community anymore, and Chris and Eric seem to agree. And Brendan kind of blames it on Rogan for leaving LA. He said that kind of ruined things. Like, Brendan always talks about how much he misses those days before everyone moved to Austin. He said that was the golden age, and he's always reminiscing about that. But obviously, Rogan would say the opposite. He would say there's more of a community now than ever, and this is the golden age of comedy. So it's funny they're talking about how much they hate comedians being bitter and jealous, because Brendan just sounds like a bitter, failed comic. Like, I'm sure he blames his career falling off on Rogan leaving LA and Rogan not sticking up for Chris D'Elia and Brian Callen right when they got canceled. I mean, Rogan will have Brian on now, but for years he didn't have him on, and he still won't have Chris on at all. So Brendan brags about how he's the only loyal person left because he stuck by them.
I mean, social influence is everything. It drives engagement, it drives revenue, and people don't want to anything that they think is going to take away from the money that they're going to make. They're going to put up the tents and be like, nope, that's it. It's just
They're going to
about
protect
me.
it.
Yeah,
Yep,
they're
they're
going to
protect it at all costs.
Yeah, at all costs.
Even if it means
man.
losing their friends, whatever. Whatever.
Yeah. So
it's all good.
I mean, I always say, like, I feel like it sucks that loyalty is not something that people value.
Yeah, no, not at all. And it's weird too, because
Except for your boy here.
yeah. Oh, there's a few. There's
Hello?
a few. No, there are a few.
Oh yeah, who else, Chris? Who else?
There are people.
Name
Well, I
them.
don't. I don't know if they want
yeah?
to speak of them, but
In the spotlight. In the spotlight.
well, but that you're yeah, but nobody actually just. But that's a thing where nobody cares. Some people
Do you know anyone who's doing shit that doesn't get this type of hate? Do you know anybody? Name one. I can't
for
name
one
one.
way or another. Yeah, for one way or another. Yeah.
Name one
No, for
dude
one
who's
thing.
actually.
Yeah, no, but
Making
it's different
money.
when it comes from the fucking actual community. You know what I'm saying? It's different when it comes from the community.
Nah, what community? You guys keep saying this community.
Right, well,
Community
what's
full of
what's
cucks,
supposed
dude.
to be the
soft
community?
people.
What's
Well, it was.
supposed to
I've
be?
been around for a while. Yeah, there was a community.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there was.
Yeah.
I thought at least.
Yeah, exactly. I think
You know?
I believe that the internet helped to destroy that.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
that's what it is now.
But also,
let's make it
Eric,
because-
I agree. There was a community. There was a community, but before Rogan left, like those whatever 5 to 7 years. It was the golden age, right?
Yeah.
And they also go off on Mark Maron and call him jealous and bitter, which, I mean, he kind of is. But they act like him criticizing other comedians is just completely out of line. Well, that's exactly what they are doing. And Eric also complains about how Mark and Anthony Jeselnik act like comedy should be a certain way, but he's also acting like comedy should be a certain way where comedians don't make fun of each other. I mean, I don't agree with everything Mark says, but I think it's better to have comedians being honest about what they think of each other and the state of comedy, which is what Eric and Chris are doing here, but also at the same time, they're acting like they're above it. And even though I think they sound kind of confused, I encourage it. I mean, just talk shit at this point. Who cares? Because we all know they're doing it behind the scenes anyway. But they're in a weird position where they obviously want to call out comedians who trash the Rogan sphere, but they know Rogan doesn't really like drama and comedians shitting on each other, which is kind of ironic because the biggest moment of Rogan's comedy career was him publicly calling out another comedian, Carlos Mencia, and destroying his career.
They know they're bad. They know it's scummy work, but it's the only way they can make money.
Well, no, I don't know. I think that some people take this weird high ground. That's my problem with like what Mark Maron does. Is like
Yes,
this weird-
taking the high ground.
this moral high ground, and this like a genius complex that some of them have.
To be like,
Jeselnik's got that. He's got this genius complex that it's like, well, this is what comedy's supposed to be, and Mark's telling me like, man, I just care about comedy.
Jeselnik's different than Mark. I like Jeselnik. Jeselnik's different than Mark. Mark's a salty bitch. Jeselnik will do it like when he goes after Rogan or something. It's still in a funny way, and it's kind of his thing, right? Being kind of that asshole.
Yeah, well,
I don't know.
I don't mind
like
Jeselnik.
I don't know. I just
Anthony's my friend.
I like
tell him to
Jeselnik.
his face.
No, yeah.
I don't like this.
Yeah, I
I
love
don't like
Jeselnik.
that shit.
personally, I like Jeselnik whenever I see him.
I just don't like that. I don't like that
Jeselnik's
shit.
awesome. He's a dark comic though. That's his thing.
I know.
But it's not Mark's
I
thing.
know, but when you carry it over into a podcast saying,
Yeah.
fucking this person sucks, and you don't even know.
Yeah.
Maron doesn't even have. He doesn't even know that Matt has an act. Like that, Matt has an act.
Yeah.
You don't have to think it's
That shit's
funny.
crazy.
But
All that shit's crazy.
So I don't know, man. I'm just saying it sucks. Dude.
Well, you know the
when
thing-
I see comics getting dragged or whoever getting dragged, it just fucking always sucks, man. It always sucks. Even if I don't like them, I'm like, it sucks.
Listen, Maron's a soft cuck. Maron would be like, bro, come on, man. And I guarantee if Matt came at him with like, bro, what the fuck are you doing?
Well, he said to
I
me-
guarantee you Maron would back off.
Well, he said to me,
Guaranteed.
he said, just walked up to me. He was like, look, man, I'm not jealous. I'm not bitter. At worst, I'm old.
Bullshit.
And I said to him, Mark, if it looks like a duck,
Yeah, well, yeah, you have to look at what it comes off as, yeah.
And they spent a lot of time defending Matt Rife and Jeff Dye, who are two comedians Mark was trashing during podcasts he was on. But they didn't say anything about the bit Mark did about Theo during his special, which is interesting because that got the most attention. That went the most viral out of all the people he was making fun of. And Theo used to be on this podcast when it was King and the Sting. So for them not to defend him was kind of strange. And I don't think I've seen any other comic defend him, but let me know what you guys think about it all down in the comments. And if you want to hear about how Brendan's move to Texas has just been a disaster and how he might be slowly turning on Rogan and Theo, make sure you check out the Patreon. You can also hear about how a couple months ago Rogan thought there was a woke reporter that infiltrated his comedy club and he freaked out. And also how Tim Dillon exposed his handler, and there are over 140 other exclusive videos on there, so make sure you check it out. There'll be a link in the description.
It's annoying and it sucks. Like when I see people like, oh yeah, fucking, you know, Bert Kreischer takes his shirt off. That's all he does. It's like, all right, what are you doing, dude? What are you doing? He made it.
But again, those people that are saying those comments, like we all get it. Oh, Chris fell off, Brian fell off, Brendan fell off. I'm like, if this has fallen off, sign me the fuck up.
Well, that's
if this is what it is.
That's a